One of the biggest concerns I hear from leaders when they know that they have to lead without authority is that they don't have control. Right? In the past, they're worried about the fact that they're going to be held accountable for some result. They don't have authority or control over the resources that get the work done. No one wants to be accountable for something that they feel that they can't control. We have to actually shift that thinking that says you don't need authority to be accountable. Right? You accept accountability in a matrix and you make a commitment to get something done. Everyone's actually connected through accountability. So part of their concern, I think, is that they feel that they're out on the ledge by themselves. Well, if I accept accountability, I'm the only one that's going to be held accountable. And when you ask an organization to define how accountability works, it's interesting the kind of words they use. Well, what does accountability mean to you? Well, it means who's the throat we choke when something goes wrong. That's really positive, that we want to make sure that we know who the one person is that we can choke when something goes wrong. Instead of focusing on what if it goes right, one, or let's learn from why it didn't go well and allow people to be accountable for something and know that if it doesn't work perfectly, they're not in trouble. Right? So when we look at accountability across an organization, when it's focused on negative consequences, when it's focused on finding who's at fault, we clearly have leaders who are concerned about leading without authority. So that always takes me back to the accountability system as a pivotal piece to being able to lead without authority. If that system isn't updated to really drive a different behavior, it makes it very hard for leaders to let go of control. So we want to really actually position them in a way to lead without authority. Now, I know lots of leaders that work in organizations that are very hierarchical, and they are great at leading without authority. But what happens is they have taken ownership of approaching it from an empowered adult state, from themselves letting go of the need for control, and relying on their own sphere of influence, and relying on how they understand who the stakeholders are around them, how they actually build their relationships. And they're naturally successful at leading without authority. And I'm sure if you talk to lots of people, you will be able to pinpoint those leaders who are really good at leading without authority. Now, the thing about being a leader in a matrix as well is that you also do need to know when to step in and make a hard decision, right? So a number of leaders are also concerned that being in a matrix means that you have to do groupthink, or that you have to get to consensus, which means 100% agreement and we can't move on till we get there. That's not what it's about, right? So as a leader, when you lead without authority, you do need to get your team to 100% consensus. But that means that 100% of the group can live with it. 100% of the group can live with it and support it given the constraints and the timelines that are bound by that. We need to get things done. So there are times where we have to make trade-offs. If you can't get to consensus, then that means someone can't live with it, and as a good leader without authority, you're going to pay attention to that. Because if you don't, then you're just pushing the solution through and you're disempowering someone on your team. So there are all these tools and techniques in how we engage in the relationship that are really important as well. And if you want to learn how to do that, again, you need to change your mindset, which training can help. You need to understand the roles and what the accountability is tied to each role you have and the responsibility. You need to understand the relationships that are created by those roles, and then really connect yourself to the accountability. Once you can know that information, it gives you valuable data to then go navigate the organization.